Stroke prevention in today's world is extremely important, as we all know. We're fortunate to be joined by Professor Huisman, who has been very much involved in the development of these new drugs. Professor, could you tell us where are we with these new drugs today in daily clinical practice?
Yes, thank you. This is a very important question. We have come a long way in terms of phase 3 trials evaluating DOACs or NOACs. Both wordings are to be used, both in atrial fibrillation and venous thromboembolism. If we concentrate on the first, which is by far the most important indication for chronic oral anticoagulant treatment, numerous phase 3 trials have been published evaluating various DOACs, and they all come to one big message. They're at least as effective as warfarin in the prevention of stroke, and some of them are much safer, others are safer than vitamin K antagonists, and particularly in intracranial bleeding. Now the second point is, how is it in clinical practice? And it's very fortunate that we have a vast body of data of real-world practice. That is day-to-day patient care without selection of the phase 3 trials. And what is so important, you have to be a bit careful because not randomized evidence, but this daily world practice show us really the confirmation of the efficacy and safety seen in the phase 3 trials. So we have come a long way. The last thing I want to say is the cost of the drug. And this, for some countries, I think including South Africa, is a major challenge. And I may say that we see light on the horizon, but I just was informed that generic medicine in DOAC area is coming its way. For countries that are not so fortunate as West European countries, including my country, that is a very important news.
And are they as widely used today as they should be?
Well, that depends on the country. There are two answers to this. Are they used? Yes, they are widely used in Western Europe. New AF patients, by far the majority, get one of the DOACs. It's a bit different per country, but in general you may say that. It's quite a different picture in other countries of the world, including, I think, South Africa and China, where people have to pay from their own pocket. So we are not as far as that as it should be. And the other point is the dose. I mentioned that in one of my lectures. Underdosing is an important problem. So if you give the DOAC, you have to give the right dose.
And if I'm a patient on warfarin,
yes,
how easy is it to take me off the warfarin and introduce the DOAC?
It's very easy. It's very easy. You have to be instructed well by your physician to stop the warfarin. And what is the moment that you can start the DOAC? That is at the moment when the control lab test, INR, of the warfarin gets under a certain therapeutic level. That is the moment when the DOAC can be started. And the beauty of the DOAC is within 4 hours, you have full anticoagulant treatment level.
And one of the developments in this area, as I understand it, is that DOACs are being used in a broader range of patients, not just those with atrial fibrillation.
Yes, it's also indicated now in venous thromboembolism, so acute deep vein thrombosis and acute pulmonary embolism, and that is an important body of patients. It's 20% of chronic anticoagulant treatment. So phase 3 trials have been done in this area, and with the same result, as effective as normal heparin followed by warfarin, and much safer in terms of bleeding. So that is another broad indication. Where we lack indication is prevention, because unfortunately all attempts evaluating DOACs, to my idea, have been unsuccessful. And what is a very important area too is the mechanical heart valve patients. One trial has tried to come up with that, realign study with dabigatran, high-dose dabigatran. Unfortunately, great attempt, but it failed. So these patients still have to be managed with warfarin. Yeah.
If we were having this conversation in 10 years' time,
yes,
what would be the state of the art?
The state of the art still will be DOACs. but the current DOACs will be extended in terms of new DOACs coming on the market and being available. And then particularly what is very interesting is the contact activation impediment by factor 11 and factor 12 inhibitors. They will come on the market. And on the other side, we will have safer pro-fibrinolytic agents coming on. I told this morning in a lecture that current thrombolytic therapy has a high risk of bleeding, and safer pro-fibrinolytics, including TAFI inhibitors, may pave its way to the market. So I think that will be the prospect within 10 years.
And as I understand it, one of the controversial areas with these new drugs has been reversal.
Yes.
Now we have reversal agents, I understand it, for at least some of these drugs.
Yes, yeah.
When and where should they be used?
Yeah, for dabigatran there is a proven and reimbursed antidote. It's either rituximab, Prexbind. It works for uncontrollable, very severe bleeding, or operations which are acute with a very high bleeding risk. For instance, a dissection of the aorta, acute surgery, patient is on dabigatran, you give him Prexbind. You have to be careful because these are costly drugs. In Europe, around €3,000. It's the same as a high-dose prothrombin complex concentrate. For the 10A inhibitors, Andexanet will be licensed soon in Europe, and it's already available in the United States. Andexanet is working as it works for all 10A inhibitors, including low-molecular heparin. There is a caveat that rumors have told me that it will be very costly, so it will be very important to do a cost-benefit analysis. But these are extreme cases. So the major bleedings, for instance, intracranial hemorrhage, do not give this product, but give it not, and think twice if you give it for a less major bleeding, gastrointestinal bleeding, where you might be off with prothrombin complex concentrate or only doing endoscopy. So you really have to find a balance for these.
Professor, thank you so much for your time. I know you've got a very busy schedule, but we really appreciate it.